Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of VisionAir Talks, where we explore the stories, creativity, and minds behind some of the most inspiring balloon artists in the world. Today, I'm really excited to be joined by an incredible artist from Australia, Chris Adamo. Chris is known for his powerful large scale installations, creative designs, and his ability to transform simple balloons into immersive experiences. Over the years, he has built some truly impressive projects and has become a respected voice in the international balloon community. In this conversation, we will talk about his journey into the balloon world, the creative process behind large builds, the challenges of working on massive installations, and what inspires him to keep pushing the boundaries of balloon art. Hi, Chris. How are you, my friend? I'm so honored that you are here.
Kobe, the pleasure, my friend, is all mine. Really excited to be with you here.
I'm actually really honored that you are here with us because you are one of the respected artists in the world. And let's get started, okay?
Thank you. Don't trust everything you hear, Kobe.
So, first of all, for our audience, I want you in several words, a little introduction of yourself. If you can start, I will be happy.
Yeah, sure. Look, funny. It was just today I was updating my bio on my website, and I was rereading through it, and I had to up to date. Had been in the industry for 20 years. Oop, had to change that. Had taught in here, and here. Oop, have to change this. So it's quite relevant because I was just thinking about what is my bio because it's forever transforming. I think I've got a bit of an interesting story or background that brought me into the balloon industry, and let me know if you want the 2 minute version or the 20 minute version because I have both. My mother was a florist who in the 90s started to do balloons. So back then I was a young teenager. Well, I was very young when she was a florist, going to the markets and everything. But when she started to do balloons, I was probably like 15, 16. So I was starting to drive a little bit as well. She had three flower shops and one balloon shop, and that was very basic, classic decor, columns, arches, retail. It was a full sort of party wares store. But there was always the background of the creativity. I had to figure out when the bucket of flowers would fall over in the back of the van. I'd have to reverse engineer how to put this thing together. And so unintentionally did I become an artist without it ever being something that I necessarily was drawn to as a passion. It wasn't a weekend hustle or anything. It was just this, you just got born into it. So just to sort of try and fast forward a bit for you here, my innate passion was IT, computing science. I did that at university. Then realized I hated it. I didn't want to be behind a computer all day. And my mother had sold her shop in 2000. So 2001, 2002, I started my own business, which was sort of an online business. I opened up a bricks and mortar shop in 2003, and I still have that today. We've expanded since. So I came about the balloon industry as a business person because I knew that you could make money out of classic balloon decor. And as you can tell now in 2026, that's a long time ago. So I got to sort of ride the wave of both knowing all of the old hands who started the balloon industry in Australia, who had been to IBAC. My mother actually taught in IBAC, which is a funny story. And so I got to see all of the old balloon industry and the then balloon industry, but then more importantly, be a real part of that journey to the now balloon industry because it's had a huge uplift and a huge change. And in fact, being here with you to talk about large sculpture builds and the real sort of the push of advanced balloon artistry, I got to sort of witness that firsthand in the developments of the process. In fact, Jean-Michel Louis, who's the inventor of the Linkalloon, we were we had an online store that I ran for my mother in 1997, and we were faxing him balloon bouquet orders from Sydney to Melbourne.
Oh,
Little did
wow.
I know that he was the guy who created the balloon, the Linkalloon. So just to really like continue to try and fast forward here for you, um, there was a transitional moment in um, probably about 2010 where I took my business hat off, where it was just all about making profit, selling widgets, and running staff, and you're learning on the fly, small business, um, you know, especially with retail. And I built an online store where we sell. It's sort of like Balloon Planet. I think before there was a Balloon Planet. So we were relaying orders all around Australia on balloons.com.au. That was my IT skills, bringing that in. So we had about 28 partners Australia wide. We were doing the classic day call. We had 5, 6, 7 staff, and then I actually went. No joke. At this point, did I go to my first balloon convention? And it was one of my partners who said, the partner being a person who would relay orders for us in Melbourne, he said, "You got to come. Like, you got to meet these people." So I went there, and I met Guido Verhoef. He was teaching at this particular convention, and I saw what he was doing in his class of linking balloons to create. It was like a dragon, but he showed some of the other stuff that he was doing at the time, and he of course, as we all know, was at the forefront of three-dimensional balloon art. And it just, like, something just sort of snapped inside of me, and I thought to myself, okay, this is cool, because I've always had an engineering background. I've always renovated homes and worked with my hands, but this was something that I became truly passionate about. Balloon columns don't excite me. It's the business of trying to sell a million columns, and that excites me. But there was this change where, hold on, I can actually use my hands and my head and my heart to create something that not only inspires me, but gives me a great sense of accomplishment and achievement, which I hadn't ever before. So that's what started the journey of me trying to push and do I still have a few more minutes?
Yeah, yeah.
So like,
It's really interesting what you are saying. I'm listening, and I'm
good.
like, wow, that's amazing.
It's an interesting story, because I don't think it's a conventional. Well, I know it's not a conventional story, because most people start with a passion and a hobby and a weekend thing and a side hustle that they wanted to turn into a business, and that came from a different way, where I was over here. Um, so it was the desire to be an artist, right? It was probably about 3 or 4, 5 years after that. One of my clients, like, referred to me as an artist, as a contractor of merit, not just like the balloon guy in the goods lift who we had to accept the delivery, right? And off he goes, but actually someone who was like a main contractor of a really big event that was respected, and got the parking spot, and and they was listened to. And so, as I started to play around and experiment with different ideas, and the internet was still, a few things were happening, not much on YouTube, but I was going to more events and reading magazines, and but a lot of it was really all of us in our own little islands, in dark corners of our offices, playing around, wasn't it? And it was that sort of drive that I didn't really make money on those things at first, but then the photos would sell, and then the clients would start, the money would come, right, with that creativity and with that push. Because an example I like to think of is, think about it like a stonemason. You don't really have many stonemasons around, do you? You've got builders, you've got brickies, but what about someone who can, like, chisel a sandstone? But they're so rare that they get to charge a lot, right? Because what they have is a desirable and limited commodity, and that's where we find ourselves as X-level balloon artists, where we've devoted time to learn the tools and to give it our heart and our soul, and through that, the customers came, and they saw it, they appreciated it, and then quite quickly, when I could find a way to price it. Um, and then people would talk, and one thing will lead to another, and you're more of a desirable commodity. And I loved that part of where I became. We still have the bricks and mortar. I still have an online business. We shut down the worldwide, the Australia wide thing, because of COVID. That was a big sort of thorn in my side. Would like to bring it back up, but just to, like, narrow down the last 8 years, 10 years. Qualitex picked me up. They saw the stuff that I was doing. I had a great relationship with Qualitex Australia. They asked me to teach at a thing, which led to another thing. And all of a sudden, I've taught in every continent around the world except Antarctica, which is a continent that doesn't have a thriving industry, but maybe one day.
Yeah.
So I'm so blessed. The teaching led to online videos, which led to Balloon Pro, which was the online design tool that I run and I'm exceptionally proud of. Every day I'll be messaging someone who has a project or something or wants to show me what they've done, and it's my little baby, and I love it dearly. Which led to the TV show, which was Endemol Shine, uh, who did Blow Up, who did Lego Masters and Ninja Warriors and MasterChef, created a show called Blow Up with Guido Verhoef. He was the concept creator of the idea, genius, and it aired in the Netherlands, New Zealand, Germany, I believe. But the Australian version, I was asked to be the judge and the industry expert to help with the equipment and all the rest of it. And that was just like a phenomenal experience that aired in Australia about 3 years ago, prime time. And millions of people have seen it. It's now in America on Amazon Prime and Tubi, and what a wonderful legacy. And just because I found a balloon at some point in my mother's shop, right?
Incredible. It's actually incredible story. Um, but there was a point there back then that you understood that it's not going to be only a hobby or just something like a, a job, simple job, but a real career that you will take to other limits.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you see, it never was a hobby at first, right? It always was. I knew the numbers. I knew what was. My mother sold her business, and then I wanted to buy it, but I couldn't afford it because I'm one of four. And if she helped me out, she'll help everybody. So she sold it, but it was the best thing she ever did. But so I knew what was possible, and I knew it was a business. So I actually bought the shop first, right, the building, and then I'd borrowed far too much money. This is why we had a global financial crisis. Banks were lending money to people like me. And I had an employee within a few months, and I was 23 years old. So
Wow,
it was, yeah, it was always a business.
that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah,
So
it's fun.
you have your own recognizable style. Um, how you how you can describe your artistic voice, your own way in some words?
Sure, yeah. Well, I'll do it in this capacity. There's two things. There's what I feel, and I'll come to that last, and there's what others think of me. Okay, and I'll start there. So before I started teaching, I was answering a question on Facebook. I created an Australia Facebook group for the balloon industry 12 years ago, whatever, 15 years ago, and someone asked a question, and I answered it, but with a video, right? And then it was how to put confetti in a balloon. And so that video I then posted on YouTube, and it's nearly had 1 million views since. Like it just went crazy. And so
Oh,
when I went to my first convention at Float, which I bought a ticket for, and then as like a few weeks before Float started, someone bailed out of one of the bonus classes. So I put my hand up because in Australia, I was one of the very first people. There was three of us that was doing this thing called organics. Nowhere else in the world. So I said, okay, I'm gonna create a class. I'm gonna call it an organics class because no one's doing it in America. So it's the very first class in America for organics. So I can proudly put my hand up and say that we helped start it over there. But when I was walking the halls of St. Louis Airport Hotel or whatever, everyone's like, "You're the confetti guy." Right? And I'm like, sure, okay, I'll be the confetti guy. Let's get a photo. And then the next float I went to, um, I was the organics guy, right? So because at WBC the year after, me, Tina Junta, and Matt J.B. Lewis taught in front of like 150 people on repeat organics, and that really cemented the work I was doing back then as well. Was just cutting edge. It was huge and massive. And 10 years ago, I bought this giant PVC silver spheres, the reinflatables. And then what happened 5 years ago, right? But 10 years ago, I found a jumping castle company, and we ordered them in, and I was including that in my organics. We were just going crazy. It was the Wild West, right? And there was no 5-inch in my organics. And I look back on it now, I'm like, oh, should have done 5-inch. But back then we didn't, whatever, it was fine. There was no reflex, there was no chrome. And so we're adding confetti, like just filling the things with, so you didn't see any of the clear of a crystal clear. It was just all mirror finish. And we were doing that to hundreds of balloons in the organic garland. So then I was the organics guy. And now when I walk down a hallway at a convention, I'm the balloon pro guy. So I don't know if that's answering your question, but they're the identities that I seem to find, which is fine. That's great.
So you
Very
actually have several styles and not just one. That's perfect
well.
for an
Yeah.
artist.
Look, if the question is a style, you see, I've probably like 99.9% of the balloon industry have ADHD, which means I really enjoy doing different things. I love um, just having a challenge, right? And I think this is probably why I'm on this podcast, is because we, like you and some of the other artists who are on here, push the boundaries, right? Now, that might not mean then that I have a style. I tell you what I'm not good at is twisting, right? I'm like hand on heart, I'm not the best twister. And I think it's really a product of in the industry here in Australia, customers don't pay for twisting, right? They don't pay top dollar for like, X dollar per hour of work created. I'm not a line twister, never will be. So that, don't think about line work. Just as far as decor goes, you can never match what you can with organics or large three-dimensional sculptural builds with links, dollar for dollar twisting. It's just not going to happen. So therefore, as a businessman, I would follow the money. So my skill set is purely based on the demand of my clients. I I have two kids and a mortgage and a busy business, and I like to get out and travel. I don't have time to sit at home and twist this beautiful, amazing 3-day sculpture for a photo, right? I'm only twisting if a customer's paying me enough to do so, which doesn't happen all the time. So I'm not a good twister. So in an ideal world, what is my skill? Well, I would like it to be three-dimensional linking sculpture work. I'd like that to be on my profile card as 10 out of 10 skill. But to be honest, it's probably organics. It's rigging and framing. So it's the best class I've ever taught is rigging and framing. And when I get on site at a convention or with my team or with others, I will do it 10 times faster and more efficiently because it's just that thing that I've developed. My mind thinks that way, and being a guy helps, like lifting and bending and whatever. And I've built houses and I understand materials and engineering, and so that's probably my superpower:
That's
framing
great.
and
That's actually really interesting to see the mind, how your mindset is working on this kind of business, that you are not just um, focusing on one method. You have
Mhm.
several of them, and it depends on the client. That's really
Yeah.
really great.
I
Yeah.
think it's great for the brain to push all the angles. I ordered too many red links, so I built a whole structure that I had planned to do on alternate size pack out of links, and I developed a whole different way of building a column with 3 lines of links and triangulating them and squeezing them in with junctions, and it's great. I think it keeps us all healthy, and
Amazing.
you never know what you're going to find if you don't sort of experiment and sit there and try. So yeah, that's a very diverse range of skills, and I enjoy that. Master of
Okay.
none.
So tell us, please, is there a project that you are that really represents who you are as an artist? Something, one big project that you had.
Yeah. Oh, it's a really tough question, mate, because in all the years I've been doing this, it's there's been a lot. There's some huge projects that really has defined me and given me so much satisfaction. And you're saying I can only say one. um, Probably the World Balloon Convention. I've got the thing over here somewhere. No, 2018, I was asked to. I won the prize to create the decor for one of the events. There was a thing. So if you were the lead on a one of either the welcome party, the beach party, or some, I got the after party. So then they fly you to the convention, everything paid for. You get a team of like 30 people, unlimited balloons, and quite often there's a theme and you got to work to that and you got to get it signed off. I was pretty lucky there was no theme. So I created. Were you there? The San Diego WBC
No, I
2018.
didn't have that
Okay.
there at all.
So so it was in a ballroom, like quite a large. There was 1,000 people, large ballroom, and I had complete free reign, no theme. And I'd just seen the theatrical production of the movie Aladdin, and there was a scene where Aladdin goes into the cave, and there's all these sort of like stalactites and stalagmites, and they were metallic silver as a set design. And when Aladdin picked up the lamp and everything was going crazy, and it was about to be consumed by the cave, the light in the theater was reflecting on all these silver everywhere. So that the silver was now red, it was blue, it was whatever, and you got this amazing sense of the entire atmosphere, the entire scene changing and transforming through reflected light. So I love the concept of reflected light, and what I use that, and the whole cave idea, to transform a ballroom into a cave. So not just like, okay, it's a beach theme. Let's have palm trees over there and a surfboard over here, and on the stage we'll have some sand out of, right. I actually wanted people to walk through this giant tunnel from the door and not see the walls or the roof. Everything's dark. There's a full canopy, which were Linkolings, quick links at the time. A full canopy that was 100 meters by 50, whatever, huge. Um, and then in the junctions of those links were taper foils of different sizes, silver. And so through the thousands of taper foils, and we could use reflected light. So there was like a dance floor part where we used taper foils to create like mirror balls spinning, and we had these columns with taper foils looking like trees, and it was simple in a way, but it was an immersive experience, right? So we weren't creating anything but an experience that you would immerse yourself within, and you'd be transformed from the foyer to somewhere else, not to a ballroom. So that the reason why I use that example, because there were many, to answer your question, was it was amongst 1,000 of our peers at an event where, because I was teaching at the event as well, so it was a huge responsibility to be running this and teaching, and I was just ragged. Um, and I respect the brand and I respect the people, and it was a huge honor, and it worked, right? Everyone loved it, and to have so many lovely, like so many kind gestures, because I was trying something that hadn't been done, right, and that I hadn't done, and like just the rigging to get this sheet up there at once. You can't use a scissor lift because you can't drive it anyway. You
Yeah.
imagine how. So we created this. Well, I created this whole new system for not only the arch itself, because I didn't want to do double skin, and it was a different method altogether. And then how we got it up there was a method that I've since used a few times. So yeah, it was a real highlight of my career, because it was impressive, but it just also made me feel just warm and fuzzy inside that I'd done a good job.
Yeah, most of the time when we are making large scale installations, um, the, the simple things, the simple designs are more, for me, are more
Mm,
unique than um, all the hardest designs that you have to put, I don't know,
mm,
framing or whatever.
yep.
Because when it's simple, you are it's easier for you to express yourself.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And there's another way to define that is really creative, skilled, fine, something looking like a thing is a wow moment, isn't it? Right? You go in there's a polar bear and it looks like a polar bear, and the eyes and the facial expression, beautiful, right? But there's also a aha moment where you feel something inside and you don't know why, right? And that's a little, it's more of that immersive experience of that thing that wasn't noticed at first, right? But the collective moment of the thing and how you made it, yeah, it's the feeling, right? It comes a little late. It's not wow, it's ah. and
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
that feeling, is the mood of the space. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so you're located in Australia. Do you
Mhm.
feel that the local market affecting on your designs on some way, or you have special designs for your cultures there or the local market?
Yeah, good question. Look, we were talking about organics, how it came to Australia first. I was always surprised because our market, our dollar is nothing like the US, right? We don't have the economy of scale like the US does, and the big bucks, the big corporate, the big billionaires, all of that. Not like Sydney is a wealthy city, no doubt, but it didn't have that. So when organic started here, um, but it hadn't in the US. There was we can't charge whatever a foot for different size balloons. It's ridiculous. It took on and then it took on a life of itself, didn't it? Um, so it didn't answer your question, but I was always quite surprised how we look to be more affluent for a period of time than America because we're not. Um, I find large sculptural work is not ingrained in the culture of our country as a valuable commodity. I think balloons are still seen as like the ugly second cousin to lighting and sound, floristry, other mediums in our industry. So it's taken a long time for us to, put on our big boy pants and sit there and proudly look eye to eye to those industries as a creative and as a medium that is respected. Organics really did help with that. Um, but yeah, I would love to see that complex creative stuff go forward. We've got a few shopping centres that are getting on board, and I think that's where it started in Singapore and other countries. But it hasn't taken off here like it should. The bread and butter for our business is columns and arches. We do heaps of retail point of sale stuff. I think this is your question. What's popular in our country? It's that pubs, clubs.
It's not about popularity, it's more about the culture itself. Is the culture
Mm,
itself affect the designs
yeah.
in some way?
Well, yeah, like I guess then to rewind back where I was, I think the expectations of the balloon industry are quite simplistic here when I don't see that there in other countries. I think other countries respect the quality of the artist more than they do here still. But it's changing. Things like the Blow Up, the TV show was a huge part of it. We've got some amazingly talented artists. You've been here you did your work in Sydney and Melbourne, and you've seen some of the stuff that our guys can do and our guys and girls can do, and like best in the world. Some of us, and it's just a matter of time. But I think we're a little bit behind the eight ball on that through the cultural understanding. We had a big problem with the environment as well. A lot of big corporates wouldn't touch balloons for quite some time until we had some recycling programs and a little bit more education. It took time, but we're still sort of reeling from that and COVID that hit us at the same time. So yeah, we're clawing back.
That's really interesting. Okay, so um, what what's been the most challenging technical build that you had taken on?
Um, I think so. Challenging would be like a large project. We did a huge job at a shopping center with 28 artists working 3 days. That's challenging, but you say technical. So let's look on that one and delve into that. For Blow Up, we had a dinosaur sort of Jurassic theme for the artist to create, different dinosaurs based on the criteria. And as my job in the show as the consultant, we had a team to build this set builds, like the pre-builds as the episode will air. There'll be some stuff in the background, whatever. And I convinced the producer to create a giant T-Rex, life size. And so when I do all of my sculptural work where we're simulating reality, you deep dive the object, the subject. So we're getting measurements for height and length and the little claws and all of that kind of stuff and how the bones work. And so to break down it's a skeleton, an alive T-Rex with skin. I particularly chose the skeleton because I thought actually it would be more lifelike. And hopefully we can pull up a photo of this because I'm so proud of it. We ended up using a combination of links, actually in threes, like was telling you about before, with little 260 circles to join each, and the links bit were the spine, right? Like every single what a knuckle, the vertebrae of the spine as it worked down to the tail, and so that size worked perfectly, and the texture was perfect. Um, then we had distortion for large bones of the legs and the shoulders. And then we did a weave for the T-Rex has this huge sort of like weird rib thing on the back. I don't even know what it's called, but so many different techniques, distortion of the teeth and the way that we were doing colors and double stuffing. And the skull was actually the most difficult part, where there were plates of distortion shapes, jelly bean type shapes, and the plates and how they would interlock. It just became so lifelike, and it just gave the gap of the sunken eyes. So proud of it. And when I saw that come out on national television, sitting at home with my family, and because I was there as the camera would be in the rib cage and it sort of zoomed out on the big tripod thing. Honestly, hand on heart, to this day, still my favorite technical construction. My hands actually froze up. They're cramping at the end of the day, and I had to stop for because we did like 20 hours straight.
Oh, wow.
It was funny, the TV guys, because I was there. Everyone's working 5-day weeks, but I was doing 6. And then when I did the 7th, they said, you can't do that. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, it's against the law of our certain code of this industry. You can't work that many hours in a row. I'm like, mate, you haven't had a small business, have you? Like, this
No.
is what we do all the time.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
had a little giggle at that, but yeah,
Oh, that's
T-Rex life size.
amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah. And I
So
should I
what?
should also credit Mark Verge. I think I sought a lot of inspiration from some of the work that he'd done with T-Rex skeletons, but like anything, I will never duplicate something I've seen. I'd always get inspiration from the real world and other artists, and it's been said before that we as artists in any form, we're building off the foundations laid by the greats before us, haven't we?
Definitely.
So I think it's exceptionally important to seek inspiration, but to add value through your own
Exactly. It's
process.
all about not copying others. It's more about creativity, creating
Hmm.
vision, new vision, your own
Yeah.
vision.
Hmm.
This is something that I'm all the time saying to myself, saying to others, that the way to be a good artist or the best artist, even the best artist, it's
Hmm.
all the time to think, what else? What more
Hmm.
can I improve? What more can I do to actual actually put my own hand in the design?
Yep. Yep. Couldn't agree more.
That's amazing.
And if you're passionate about it, you'll never let it be just something, right? It'll
Definitely.
always need to be the best, right? And you can tell the difference between those that are passionate and those that are not. And I assure you that no one who is not passionate will not be on this, because they wouldn't have created anything worth talking about.
Yeah,
Starts with the
exactly.
passion.
So when you start to plan design, what comes first? The colors, the shape, what is the first thing that you are starting with in big designs?
Well, are we going to assume here we're talking about a larger project, a sculptural work perhaps, and not an everyday event decor design,
Yeah,
right? What?
yeah,
Yeah, okay. Well, I like to talk, and I think that it all starts with the conversation with the client, an in-depth conversation with the client. Well, we'll email first. I'll say, we want this. We want a gorilla, right? Okay, cool. Um, I would maybe send a couple of inquiries. How long do you want it to last for? Where will it be? That's the number one question. Where and how long? Is because I did a job once. We are talking about the crystal clears with gold confetti. We did this giant Christmas tree, so 16 inch, down to 11 inch, down to 5 inch, filled with confetti. It took hours and hours, like kilos of confetti. And it turns out it was in a corporate office, entry, entrance sort of reception. No problem, right? I didn't realize it was glass. The whole roof is glass in
Oh,
Australian, right? So it was 40 degrees out with direct sunlight. So these are the questions we need to ask. What does the roof look like? Even if they say it's a foyer and it's inside, we still need to know is there a door that's always open, right? The humidity and all the rest of it. But I will ask more questions, and I will be apologetic in doing so, because I need to know all the variables, because I need to tell them what they can't get. Okay. I need to set their expectations like here, right? Because I'm on this journey with them, and they need to know what won't work. All right. That you want an 11-inch helium balloon to float for 7 weeks. No, it's not going to happen. And this is the reason why. But what is the problem that you're trying to solve here? Right? You're a car dealership, you got a special promotion coming up, it lasts for 7 weeks. Okay, well, let's look at the ceiling. Maybe we can do this thing over here, all with air, it's rigged. We'll top it up, we'll high shine it, we'll come back and do a fix, whatever. But you need to know, right, from the very outset, what are all the limitations. Um,
it's all
then
about expectations.
100%. And there are so many people out there who are yes, okay, they've been in the industry for a couple of years, fake it till you make it, no problem. I so believe in that, but at the same time, you're going to get burnt. And when I teach, I always like to teach the things that burnt me to prevent my students from not having to go through that same experience. And I'll point out a little something that'll help expedite a problem that I spent hours or weeks or whatever trying to solve. This is why you're here in this class, because bam, you won't do that again. Anyway, but then to me, it's just say it's organics and it's a small budget. The first thing I'll do is I'll get a photo of that space. I'll just squiggle, right? Literally with your screen recorder, and I'll get the colors green. I'll squiggle. This is roughly the visual footprint, I'll say. Bless you. This is roughly
Thank you.
the visual footprint of this organic garland, right? And we could do it this way and we squiggle to the left, or we could have this and that, which is now part of the upsell, right? They've just asked for a one-sided arch or whatever it may be. And now all of a sudden I've seen the space and I've seen this fireplace over here, and we've got the organics coming out of the fireplace now growing over here. Here's option C, right? So you can really quickly squiggle. You don't have to do giant renders and AI and all the rest of it to quickly discuss the visual footprint, which will lead to a quick quote, right? Set their expectations on price based on roughly what they can cover. We'll point out a couple of issues, and all of a sudden, I'm the expert in this space. And the other quotes are like, we can do a half arch for X, right? That's their reply, right? And I've just delved that a little bit further, and you can do it quickly. So once we get to back to the gorilla example, that now we need to start thinking about scale and texture and budgets. And I'll ask them pretty upfront early on, what's your budget? Okay, usually we don't know. Right?
Yeah.
Everyone plays it tough. But what I find is, in the events and the creative space, the more you start to see what other mediums are charging, and print media and AV and all the rest of it, we're too cheap in our industry, everywhere across the board, all the time. Apple for apple, impact for impact, we're too cheap. So sometimes I actually start to play around with just charging more than I think I normally would charge, right? Because there's that perceived value thing of, wow, geez, that's expensive. But look, this guy's knows his stuff, right?
And it's all the time about um, putting you as an artist, as something that is really unique and not like everybody. If you will charge like everybody, you will be like everybody. But if you will charge more and you will value yourself, you will put yourself immediately in a spot that it's ahead of everybody.
That's true. That's true. Everyone wants to know why that handbag is more expensive than the other one, right? You see the price tag and you think, well, there's got to be a reason, right? It's desirable. It's made of better material, whatever it may be. Even having a big number in your Instagram is a thing. Maybe they'll repost. But there's another great saying where I forget exactly the wording of it, but it took me 20 years to do that in 1 hour, right? So even though it's fast, right, it doesn't necessarily matter, but you've got that experience behind you to go in there and pump it out. But anyway, so we'll talk budget. We will. I'm a terrible sketcher, right? With my hand, I can't draw. It's terrible. It's something I'm actually trying to learn now. I've got a tablet, and I'm trying to do it with the stylus. But I have a graphic design background, so for years I've been creating digital renders. Organics is so easy, but other products, other structures. In fact, if it's a linking design of a rhino, whatever it would be, I would actually place the links down the width or the girth of the rhino's tummy in 30 pixels, which is 30 centimeters roughly. If that's my largest size that I'm going to use, and I would know the girth of the rhino to be 1.5 meters, so that'll be 1,500 pixels, right? So I'll actually use some. I've done CAD, Google SketchUp. I've created concept drawings in many different formats. But the simplest is just a graphic design tool where you can actually place them and use the pixels as a guide. And then now you've got one line, you can copy it, then shrink it a little bit, copy two now, move over there, shrink it a little bit accordingly. And then you can actually, at the end, click on one balloon and see how many pixels. So there's all these little hacks that we can do. And I did hear you talking about AI in a previous interview. I'm pro AI. I know everyone's going to hate me now. I'm going to get hate mail. I posted once in a Facebook group not long ago. I'm just curious about AI, and people are like, I'm so disappointed in you. I thought you knew better, right? Okay, well, I'm sorry, but the world is moving so quickly, right? I Googled it. I didn't use AI. Actually, I might have used AI for this question. How much electricity does one digital render make? And it's one light bulb for like a LED light bulb for about 3 hours, right? It's microwaving for like 5 seconds. Okay. We need to be concerned, right? We need to be conscious, but we also need to stay curious, because we need to use any tool that we have available to us to help push us and our trade forward. And if we're not doing it, someone else is doing it. And that's just, that's that. Please don't send me hate mail. Okay. I'm just trying. But yeah,
I can't agree more. I think that AI is a powerful tool, uh, but we can't forget that we are the actual artist, and we can't just rely only on AI. We can
well, this is
we can use it, but not rely on it.
the problem about it is it puts you on the wrong path because it designs things that are not possible. But then also, even if the possibilities of that design are possible, you might not be able to make it because you might not have the skills. It's really important in this industry to under promise and over deliver every time, right? It's
Definitely.
how I met my wife. Under
So,
promise, over deliver,
tell me,
and AI will get you stuck.
yeah, definitely. Okay, so looking back, was there a mistake or failure that actually helped you to grow, to be a better artist?
Oh God, that's a tough one. Like, I think that's every day. That's the process of creativity, is just breaking things and seeing what works, isn't it? Um, there, we spoke before about how important it is to just dive in the deep end, right? To say yes and figure it out later. And not everyone can pull it off. Sometimes you regret it. The amount of I've been there till midnight because I promised X and I thought I'd figure it out, but that method didn't work. So you're just sitting there just trying to figure out a way to solve this problem. So there's not one big thing that hits me right now as a key example, because I think it's ingrained in literally my day to day. My staff hate it because I'll say yes to stuff, right? And I just have to check that I'm going to be at work that day. I have to check the calendar because right? You take it, you make it, right?
I
That's the
understand
saying.
you as a
If
father. Yeah.
if you take that job, you got to make it. And they just call it a Chris job, right? If I book something and then I'm away, I have hell to pay because not everybody wants to be breaking things and trying to refigure it out. Not everybody is wanting to push and um, uh, you know, go beyond that comfort level to create something special because it doesn't always work. And it's exceptionally stressful when it doesn't. In fact, I did this job just recently. I took it down last night, so might be looking a little bit tired. Where it was the install that was a 22-hour day. I got home at 4:30 in the morning. I didn't sleep. Had to go back to work the next day, and it was a horse, 7.5 meter horse. I've just posted a whole bunch of things about it recently, and it was in a shopping center where we did a snake. It was the year of the snake the year before, and we nailed it. Right, it's such a beautiful installation. Everything was perfect about this 20-meter long snake. Because the snake's easy. Like we created a 1 meter section with beautiful diamond pattern with the colors and how they all integrated and the shades of reds and you duplicate it. Right, you spend time and okay, do 10 more of those. I'll see you next week. Um, and then you can focus on the head of the snake for the rest of your day. No problem. The horse is so hard, right? To do it properly, like the front legs and the way that the back calf like come into the bum part and the jelly bean shape of the chest it's sort of decreasing this way while also the slight decline. I know the shape of a horse so well. I studied it for days, and it's exceptionally difficult to connect all those parts. And the problem is, we were building it in my shop, not on location or not anywhere where we could build the whole thing. So I had to build it in parts, which worked out fine because I had a system. We drew it all and the measurements and everything was proportioned. But I rushed the legs because I just didn't have time. Like crap, we just ran out of time. So I didn't double check the thickness of the legs. And there's also another thing, the color of the hooves. The client wanted yellow, I hated it, but whatever. So we've got this beautiful horse. The proportions are great, but all I see are these chunky legs that are out of proportion. It's all I see. The other thing was rigging it. There was no direct contact points above, so I had to create a perimeter of it was like 300 kilogram rated rope onto truckies, not compression knots. And then you'd always we're rigging right to left, and you have that little bit of sag. And unlike a snake, a horse has legs and a neck and a head. And so those legs, to naturally, they've got to sort of like be galloping at one low, one high. Well, if you do that, then someone can reach out and touch it based on the limitations of the highest point I can reach. So I planned for that, and I designed the whole proportions based on 7.5 meters wide gave us that much height, knowing that someone down there couldn't touch it. But I was about 30 centimeters off, which meant that the legs, these chunky legs, were also sitting in a non-natural position. So for the rest of my life, I'm going to be, I wish I just thought about those legs.
All the time. It happens all the time. But actually, I saw your design and it looks fine. It looks really great. I think
Yeah.
as an artist, we are all the time like um, pushing ourselves to perfection. But for the audience size, it's more than perfect for them. I'm
Look,
seeing it in my exhibitions when I finish the exhibit build, and we are at the starting of the launch, and it's really hard for me to see, oh no, I forgot to fix this one, or this one is not looking good as
mm,
I expected.
one balloon's
But
gone
it's
down.
all the time like this. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was, look, guys, there was hundreds and thousands, well, maybe not hundreds of thousands, but tens of thousands of people getting photos and selfies, and it was still lovely. But we set our we are our own worst critic, and it's important to be so. Every job I do, I'm never satisfied. Every job I'm driving back, and I'm thinking about what I would do differently, and I can't stop that. Sometimes I'm really happy, but I still know what I would do differently.
But this is a truly unique um, 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 how you say it,
Attribute,
um,
characteristic.
yeah, characteristic way of thinking of an artist. a real artist.
Mm,
So
mm.
um, most of us,
Well, yeah, it's
as
important.
an artist, thinking like you. Um, so it's fine. Yeah,
Yeah,
it is what it
yeah, it's
is.
still fun.
Okay, so after so many years in the industry, um, how do you keep your creativity fresh all the time and avoiding yourself to repeat uh, your designs again and again?
Um, Good question. Because we do, well, I assume others feel high points, low points. You know, I've had a very blessed career um, to be teaching in some of the most premier events, and you know, there was the golden age of Chris where organics were just a thing, and I was seen as you know, in Brazil they called me like the godfather of organics, you know, and I was just like, wow, this is cool, and I was being asked to teach everywhere, and that's not the case now. Why? Because the rest of the world's caught up. Like there are so many amazing artists everywhere. The space for not like, to be competitive, but the space to be unique is narrowing, right? Because it's difficult to be exceptional because the pond is so big and there's so many fish here now. That drives me, right? Because I know what it's like to inspire myself, my staff, others, and that in itself is a drive more than the satisfaction of the client. It's the satisfaction and the respect of peers, because if I see that reaction, it makes me feel good and it makes me feel like I've done my job for me. It's not ego at all. It's actually just a sense of connection. Now, um, from a creative perspective, I do spend a lot of time doing classic. It's the foundation of our business, and all it takes is one day driving around delivering columns, taking phone calls. Doing like I hate being in the shop. I hate serving customers. I've just done it too long. So you know, I'm driven to get out of there and to push again. You know that it is the push is the reason I'm still in it, right? If that answers your question, what drives me? Well, I'm here because of the drive. It's a catch 22, chicken and egg kind of thing. Um, as soon as I lose that innate passion to be the best me, I think that I'll call it quits. I think that it'll be over, right? But it's I still feel that's a long way away. So you know, I love witnessing big builds and seeing other people's work and seeing how other people are pushing people in the same mindset, perhaps. That inspires me, and you know, I hopefully we all inspire each other because it's a dynamic industry. It's still changing. I think we had this huge surge of this creative wave when the internet came about and people were sharing ideas and these islands were connecting. Um, and it's harder now to have that next push, but it's there. And, you know, I'm always seeking it.
Amazing, amazing, truly inspiring.
Oh, great. Well,
So,
thank you.
for the ones that wants to move to an other levels, to build large scale installations, what kind of mindset do they need to develop to themselves to become a large scale installation designers?
Mm, fearless, to be without fear or sleep. No. Well, in my introduction, I told the story about I spent 10 years as a businessman almost before I went to my first convention. So I wish I had gone to one earlier. And the world of the internet and TikTok and Instagrammable and everyone subscribing to, you know, online classes and everything. That's fine. It has its place, but you have to get out there and go into a jam room if you don't twist. You know, uh, put your hand up to find out who's creating the opening night decor of this event. Put your hand up and go shake their hand and say, "Can I help?" Um, you know, it's not even just about the classes. It's about sort of immersing yourself in experience that you can only find in a real life, real world connected space that is a convention or a hands-on teaching. I was in Orlando, Florida, October last year, working with Samprotex and amazing team, amazing family. and just the rush of putting everything together quickly and collaborating, and people, what can I do? And actually, I didn't tell you for the Well Balloon convention when we had that giant ceiling. I never actually was given a team. I was meant to have 30 people allocated to me for it. I ended up jumping in the hallway. I found the Italians. I'm like, what are you doing? And it was everyone, the Italians just coffee and smoking. Like, nothing. I'm like, come on. And I grabbed the Australians. We pulled over some Germans, and like I just grabbed people and we made it work. And they're the experiences that drove me to want to continue to do this thing. So what do I advise to others is to A, practice, play around. B, be curious, right? Like to me, my morning Instagram feed is my breakfast for my mind of seeing what's happening in the world and seeing, just I follow, someone inspires you, follow them, right? You see something amazing, ask them, or just develop a connection, a relationship, so such that you can ask them, and be polite because they're busy. And but look, many moons ago, I asked someone I really respect a question. He didn't help me, and from that moment on, I thought to myself, I'm always going to help anyone who asks me a question. I'll give them my time, because it's brave to ask the question. You can see they're wanting to grow. You can see they want to push, and I think pretty much the entire industry is like that, yourself included. We are all here to grow, and it's a huge sense of like service, and you feel great to be able to give, right? To be able to share and help someone else in their own journey, and because maybe they'll be helping you in a couple of years' time
Yeah,
on an idea that they came up with.
VisionAir Talks, this series, it's all about sharing. It's all about taking the our industry and to educate others that wants to be like us or like you guys, um, to be professional, more professional, um, but freely, without any charging of these videos or other tutorials or whatever, because I
Mm.
think that we get to our level not because we are keeping the secrets to ourselves. If we will share to others,
Yep.
it will give us a lot.
Yeah. Look, I always say, because we have classes in my hometown with my competition, and I'm all for everybody. A rising tide lifts all boats, right? And if there's someone in that class who's going to do better work, will lift the expected expectation of the quality of our industry up, so that everyone at that party will go, wow, I didn't realize you could create that giant bunny, or that organics is just perfect. It's like, I spent thousands on florals at my event, and look at this thing, the impact of that is whatever. Inversely, if it's shit, they're going to go, wow, I'm glad I got flowers at my event. Look what you just spent on that. Right? So there's enough for everybody. And if we have a stronger and healthier industry domestically, locally, then you're only going to benefit from that. Competition are your allies, not your enemies. Sharing is caring. I just feel like I'm
Definitely.
shooting out stupid phrases here, but I mean it. I genuinely mean it. Rising tide lifts all boats.
Definitely. I can't agree more. So for my last question, we talked a lot
Okay.
about the past. Now I want to hear from you about the future. Um, where do you see yourself where do you see the industry uh,
Okay.
in the next few years, and where do you see yourself in the next few years in the industry?
Okay. Well, I'll start with the latter myself. I spent all today building, and I rarely get to do this, but building extra applications for balloonpro.co, my software design tool, where I'm not going to say anything. It's completely nothing to do with what people have seen so far, but they're extra resources and tools for the industry at large. And I get so much pleasure and pride in solving problems as an entrepreneur, for the industry at large. That's how Balloon Pro came about. It was I had a problem for myself. I built a thing. We shared it for free, and I thought, well, I want to take people like this. It's useful. It's helpful. Let's charge a little bit and let's develop it further. So for me, um, like I enjoy the videos. I love teaching face to face, but I see probably that old IT skill of Chris with the 25 years plus of industry experience, trying to create solutions for the industry at large, because some of these platforms do help large builds. We just released a duplicate ring calculator. So if you're creating, one of the best projects I've ever worked on was this a life-size bull elephant, which was duplicate rings, like that was tapering down, creating like an egg shape, and another egg shape was the head. Duplicate were the ears, and the snout, the nose came forward and reconnected in seamlessly. It was beautiful, all duplets. Now this does help you calculate the diameter of that ring and the size of the balloons and the inverse size relationship to force a curve, and you can just type it in now. And I didn't have that there 3 weeks ago. So that's me. Like I really want to work on how I can make my own trade more streamlined and then share that with others. The industry at large, it's been a real roller coaster. With this is 2026. COVID, it still wasn't that long ago, and there's still the ricochets and the ripples of what COVID did to the events industry at large. And in Australia as well, we have high inflation, interest rates are relatively high, cost of rent, cost of living is just ridiculous. So the budgets have gone. Corporates are still okay, but the domestic budgets are still less than what they were. So we're still licking our wounds, right, in this country. And I think that it won't last forever. So I really am optimistic we've lost a lot of people. I've lost a lot of good friends in the industry and their job, not lost, but they've moved on to other industries. And yeah, that's a real shame. Qualitex went, as we all know. That was a huge shame, like very, very close dear friends of mine. But with change comes new seeds and saplings and new life, and I really believe that the industry, the economy will be on its way up soon. I thought it was last year, maybe not this year, next year, but it's coming. There's cycles in the economies. We all see it. When anyone can just look at a graph. So I see growth, like new growth, new blood, with a lot of these people that have started, and hopefully that we're inspiring them to reach out beyond just organics and just beyond classic. To me, it's used to be classic, then organics, then complex. I call it three-dimensional balloon art. But now I see it the reverse. So everyone starts organics. Classic is something they might take on if they're quiet. But that next stage, right, where to me, it's like the level of complexity is this, and it just, right? And
Getting wide.
we need more people to be curious enough to learn the skills and take the plunge to give it a go, right, and to become better and lift us all up with that. That to me is my happy place.
Amazing. Amazing. So we get to the end of this chat, this interview, and I first want to thank you a lot for being here with us and sharing
Thank
all
you.
your knowledge and experience with us.
Oh, thank you, mate.
Um,
We've known each other a while. I'm a big fan of your work. A lot of admiration for the stuff that you've done.
Thank
I
you.
think I remember I saw a photo like 10, 12 years ago. You had a dragon in a shopping center with your hat, right? And I'm like, who
Yeah,
is this guy? What is that thing? And then we met. And so it's been a real honor to be here. And I love what you're doing. I love this project, and I will be following every subsequent. I've already watched all the first few already, and I'll be following along. So thank you for providing
thank
this
you
service
very
to
much.
our industry.
Thank you very much, and I really appreciate all you all your experience and all the things that you share with us. And I wishing you uh, a great day and a great year, and of
Thank you.
course a lot of balloons and new designs. And thank you very, very
Well,
much.
Let's hope we've inspired someone today and stay curious.
I hope so. Goodbye, my friend.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Thank you for being part of this conversation. I really hope you enjoyed it. Here on VisionAir, we don't just talk about balloons. We talk about vision, courage, creativity, and the people who turn imagination into reality. So if this story inspired you, make sure to follow, subscribe, and stay connected. More episodes, more journeys, and more inspiration are coming soon. I'm Kobe, and this is VisionAir. See you in the next episode.